What's up, everyone? My name's Justin Odisho, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This is episode number 4. Today we have another guest on the show. I have with me someone that goes by the name of Chris, aka Pompey. He's reached out to me on Instagram a while back. He watches some of my video editing stuff, and we were just talking back and forth on some ideas. He's doing some interesting things, and so I thought it'd be a good show to get him on the podcast and get some perspective from him, from some of the projects that he's into, his workplace, and some of the things that he's doing. So Chris, I'm going to call you Pompey from here on out. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for making the time. And I guess to start off, where does the name Pompey come from before we continue on, for the people wondering?
Well, it's a play off my last name. My last name is Pomparelli. And so just like growing up, my nickname's always been like Pomps or Pompsy,
Yeah.
or C-Pomp or whatever. So I just, way back when, I made it Pompsy and just kind of stuck with it.
That's like your The Rock. It's like your branding name. I always
Exactly.
found like if you can't use your, like eventually after full, I always feel like full name is the best, but then after full name, if you can get down to just one name, like Seal, that's when you reach like the highest level, or like Oprah of branding.
That's kind of the way I see it, because like there's obviously Chris, Chris is a very common name.
Is
so
Pomparelli like Italian or something?
yes,
It
yeah.
is? Okay, cool.
And luckily that name's not like a common last name. I think only people in my family have that last name from what I know. But yeah, Pompsy was just something funny. Everyone just called me it, so
Yeah.
it was just natural. Yeah.
Well, anyways, so you do something pretty interesting at the moment. Well, first of all, you do a lot of video editing, right? And you
Yeah.
what would you describe yourself as, a video editor?
I
Or just
usually
a content
tell people,
creator?
I tell people I'm a videographer and video editor, but overall, a video creator. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me to describe what I do exactly, but and you currently work at Vaynermedia, which I'm sure a lot of people who are watching me are familiar with and follow Gary Vaynerchuk and know all about this. So what exactly do you do actually?
So at Vayner, I do exactly what I described. So I'm a videographer and a video editor for a division of Vayner called Vayner Talent. And essentially what Vayner Talent is they manage social media they do personal branding for clients. So they'll manage social media accounts, and we film and create vlogs for celebrities and high profile business people. And yeah, so I spend most of my time just editing videos, and then based on what the clients are doing, and if they need a videographer, they'll fly us out to certain events and, to follow them around, shadow them, and film them.
Yeah. So you're based in like the New Jersey, New York area, right?
Yeah, I work out of the New York City office.
And what other offices of Vayner are there? There's New York, there's
an LA office, a London, a Chattanooga,
oh yeah.
and I think there's one more that I'm forgetting, but
So
yeah, there's a couple.
You should know that. I shouldn't.
Yeah, I know there's 5.
I will
Yeah.
just hope. Well, Gary's not going to listen to this, or whoever is in charge. But I don't think that's too. I don't think that's like. How long have you been there actually? I guess that goes into that.
A little over 3 months, like 3.5 months.
Okay, yeah, so we can forgive that one. When I used to work at like retail jobs and things, I didn't know all the fun facts until like a year in.
Well, actually, when they brought me on board, usually you would go through like essentially like a training. They call it orientation.
Yeah.
And you'd learn everything about the company and what they're doing and all the brands they work with and everything. But there was just so much work to be done at our division on Vayner Talent that they told me not to go to orientation. So
Just jump right in.
I just jumped right in. I haven't done orientation since.
I mean,
So.
It's been 3 months and you're doing the work, right?
Yeah.
So are you able to say like what, like maybe some example clients that you've done work for, or are you not allowed to say?
Yeah, I can say one of the our biggest client like right now is a
I want
guy
to be
named
sure.
Tom.
Are you sure you're allowed to say it, right?
Oh yeah, we could say it.
Okay, cool.
Like a lot of them post on their Instagram like it's so fun working with the Vayner talent
Oh yeah,
team,
yeah, yeah.
Vaynermedia. Like it's it's a known thing, and there's been articles in New York Times talking about
Yeah.
us, even describing how much money we charge per client.
Okay,
So
yeah. So it's kind of out there.
yeah, but I'd say my favorite client we have is a guy named Tom Bilyeu, and he's the founder of Quest Nutrition,
Oh, I've heard of
which,
Quest bars.
yep, exactly, which was
Okay.
evaluated at $1 billion, and he he I think he sold his stake in the company, and right now he's building his own empire, which he calls the impact theory, and he has his own interview show that he runs out of his house in Los Angeles, and yeah, we just create a lot of content for him, and he's really into the matrix and inside the mind, so he has all these really interesting people on his podcast, or on his he has a podcast, but on his interview show and stuff like that, and it's just like it's great. He's a great dude.
Oh, that's cool. I just Googled him real quick. I didn't never. I was aware of Quest Nutrition, but
Yeah.
I have to check this guy's channel. It looks like he has a YouTube channel, a whole bunch of other
Yep.
stuff, and he's got some awesome guests on. He's had Tim
Yeah.
Ferriss on his show. That's cool. So you guys, so I'm looking at his YouTube channel right now. So for example, do you guys is Vayner Talent creating these thumbnails, or are you guys working more just on like Instagram, or like what is
Well,
something that you might have worked on here, like an Instagram video?
yeah. So, well, I'll explain. Tom he hired us, and so we work with him, but he also has a whole in-house crew.
I
So
see.
he has like he's like on another level
Yeah,
kind
he's
of.
on top of it.
Yeah, so like his thumbnails are created by his team, but like all the vlogs are us. All the Instagram videos are us, and his Facebook is managed by us. Sometimes his team will give our team content, and we repurpose, or we'll re-edit, or we just post what they give us. But the other clients, like we're creating everything. So we have the team right now is about 15 people.
Yeah, I was gonna
There's
say, who's us when you say us?
Vayner Talent.
Like, and what does that consist of? Like, are you working lone wolf usually, or do you shoot a video and then send it off to this guy, and then he sends it off to this guy?
So the way it works is Vayner Talent's a division of Vayner. It's our team, and on Vayner Talent there's like 15 people. So we have our whole crew is we have producers that deal with the clients and kind of relay back and forth like when they need videographers, and like they'll send them content to get to get approved or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so then there's the videographers that will go out and film and grab the content and then edit the videos, and also edit them for like the different channels like Twitter, Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, because each one has like different rules and a little bit different styles and stuff like that. But then besides the editors, we have a couple people called growth hackers,
How
which
many
are more
editors
on
are
the
there?
analytics side.
If
Um,
cut you off, sorry.
No, that's cool. There's only four. There's
So
only four
you
of
and
us.
a few other people.
Yeah.
And
that's
real
it.
quick, just to backtrack,
Mhm.
you said Vayner Talent is a division, like compared to like what? There's Vayner Talent, there's Vayner what? Like what are the few different divisions, and what are you guys different in?
Yeah. So kind of the way Vayner's made up is there's like teams based on like every client. So I don't know if I'm able to say what
Okay, yeah, you don't.
companies work for.
Yeah, you don't have
but
to
I'm
get
just gonna
into anything like that. I'm just wondering from a curiosity
Yeah.
standpoint, like what is I get what Vayner Talent's purpose is, but
Mhm.
it seems like a small subsection that's working on a specific type of thing compared to the rest.
Yeah.
But
It's very different than the rest.
so would you say that's because you guys are more like an independent production, like media production crew for all these different social channels, whereas the other platforms are doing something different?
I guess you could say that. I guess the best way to put it is or to compare it is like it's modeled after Gary's
Yeah.
whole like
Oh, I
format.
see. Yeah.
He has
Basically,
his
you
whole
take that
crew.
formula and
Yeah.
and apply it onto other people.
The only difference is that our team deals with multiple clients, and Gary's team is all just Gary. So that's why you see like,
Yeah,
Gary's
all
everywhere
focusing on him.
constantly.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone like me was to want to have you guys put my socials through the funnel,
Mhm.
is that viable, or do I have to be a certain company, or is it just
No, you
like
can-
put the money up and you can do it?
Exactly. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. I know I would never do it, but I mean, that's the cool part is I'm kind of like a jack of all trades.
Mhm.
I know a little bit of Photoshop, I know a little bit of editing, so I can make all my thumbnails. I can do all my Instagram posts. The hard
Yeah.
part is I can't be everywhere at once. So
Mhm.
when I'm really pushing out, when I'm doing this podcast with you right now, I can't be doing anything else,
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I have to try to be everywhere at once, and at the same time try to work on top of things too and create products and do different things. Would you say everyone on the team is a bit of a jack of all trades, or do you not need to be like, you're a videographer and video editor, but would you say to get a job there you kind of have to be able to do everything?
I mean, I can't speak to all of Vaynermedia, but I can speak to obviously like Vayner Talent. And for our team, like my biggest skill is, shooting and editing, working Premiere and like some of the other Adobe programs, but there's people on the team that have no idea how to edit video.
Okay,
They're just producers, and they have, they know like, oh, at 3 minutes in, like you should cut out this word, or
Yeah.
oh, she doesn't look good at this angle, so let's switch that up, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say like the videographers are the most kind of like jack of all trades. We do have one guy on our team that's a producer technically, but he's like an incredible video editor, and he knows After Effects and like graphics and Photoshop and
Yeah.
everything. So he's like a jack of all trades for sure.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, everyone has their special positions, and then obviously if you can be, it helps. But I cut you off at an interesting point. Growth hacker. You said there's a someone
yeah.
labeled a growth hacker on the team. I can kind of
Yeah.
guess what that is, and I feel like I probably do it too. But what is that?
it sounds crazy, right? It's like a new thing. But basically, like, I mean, you know what an influencer is. It's
Yeah.
like someone who, has a big Facebook or Instagram channel with a ton of followers. And so the growth hackers are people that know how to network within those communities. And a lot of times, like, for instance, we just recently brought in an intern onto our team, and he's a younger dude, but he has he's an influencer on Instagram. He has like a basketball channel on Instagram that has like almost 200,000 followers.
Yeah.
And he pretty much got brought in to just like, our team can learn some more networking and growth hacking from him on how to
What's
grow their
this
channels.
guy's name? I feel like I just got messaged by a basketball channel. This guy B-Ball. This guy has the @name B-Ball, and he watches my stuff. And
no, that's not him. I forget what his channel's called. Maybe it'll come to me later. Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my
Anyways.
head. It's not very important, but
yeah, I
the
get what
point
you're
is-
saying, but these people who might not specifically be like a camera guy or producer,
Mhm.
but they have this kind of new type of skill of knowing how to maneuver on these platforms like Instagram and
Exactly.
Twitter, and maybe having the right connections and networks.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's,
very
like, really
interesting
interesting.
position. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool to me. And like I'm sure like you have some insight onto that now too, now
Yeah.
that you have your channel blew up and you're doing some awesome things. But yeah, to me, like that's what interested me a lot, like because I didn't know anything. I'd never heard of a growth hacker before Vayner.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I want to, I want to make videos, and I like the idea of like marketing and learning about that, but I had no idea like what a growth hacker could be. So I learned a lot, in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
from that sense.
it's an interesting position. I wonder like what the daily schedule is like. It's probably very like day to day, very different.
Yeah. They just like analyze all these metrics, and they just do a lot of research to find out like which communities apply to
Mhm.
who. Like like this is here's a cool example. So we have another client called his name is Eric
Yes.
Casabieri, and
What was it again? Sorry.
But Eric Casabieri,
Okay.
and he is the CEO of Retro Fitness, and so recently we reached out to this guy named Robert Frank, who's a fitness guy, very, very popular on Instagram, like 200 or over 400, maybe 500,000 followers now. And he's a workout guy, fitness guy, but he's very entertaining, very funny. And we reached out to him, and he was featured on Eric Casabieri's vlog show. And because of that, Eric gained a ton of followers, and that specific vlog with Frank in the episode, like, it was his most viewed video, and it was just a very good way to like network and growth hack that way.
Yeah, just putting things together in the right place. I feel like a lot of that is instinctual for creators like me and yourself, and maybe someone's listening. We have this gut feeling of, okay, I know I need to make a video about this topic, or if I could do that, like that would be interesting. Like even this podcast, I just feel like it would be interesting to get a perspective of someone, like I was telling you, from the inside to talk about some of this stuff, and that would be an interesting podcast for people. A lot of times people ask how I come up with ideas, and when you're a one-man team like this, I have to do all of that stuff. Like I have to be the growth hacker, I have to be the producer, I have to be the editor, I have to be the networker, whatever, at least at this point. Yeah,
it's fun though. Do you enjoy it?
Oh no, yeah, I love doing it. That's like my favorite part, but it's cool to see it all like fleshed out into, if I was to have the flexibility to have a whole team around me, like how I would flesh it out, and like the different roles like Gary's doing. Yeah,
I do like the idea of having a team, because like for instance, I'm okay with Photoshop, but there were times where it's just like, hey, Nicole, can you just can you make this this graphic for me? And then she just like whips it up, like, and then I just plop it in the timeline. It's like, yes, I have to like
it's like a factory. So you have your own channel, right? And what's that looking like? Because you have your own channel plus you're an employee at Vayner. And by the way, are you like a full-time employee, a part-time employee, or?
Right now I'm a resident, so it's...
Oh, like a creative resident. I guess before we get into that, why don't you explain how you got that position that you're into? That'll take us right into that.
Yeah, for sure. So I've like always been into video since I was young, and I pursued it in college. And right out of college, I got this job on the marketing team, like doing photos and creating videos for a small company, a digital signage company, like in my town. And so I was doing that for a few years, traveling and really enjoying it. And one of my coworkers on the marketing team was like, "You ever hear Gary Vaynerchuk?" I was like, "No, who's that?"
And when was
like,
this?
Oh my God.
What year was this?
This was in February of this year.
Oh, cool. So very early.
Very recently. So he introduced me to Gary, and I was like, no, but I'll check him out. So then obviously I instantly got hooked on him, because I don't know, I just love him.
I feel like a lot of people do. I can always tell when someone has recently like got hooked on Gary, just because of the way they'll email me or message me. Like I always know, like, okay, this person's just watched some Gary.
We could talk about, oh my God, the DMs I get, man.
Yeah,
like we can talk about that later. But
keep going. So your friend introduced you.
So yeah, he introduced me. So for a couple weeks, every day after work, I'd get home and just watch his vlogs, and I was getting motivated and learning and enjoying it. And then one day he released this video called "Are You D-Rock?" It was part of his vlog
I saw that one.
series.
I think I've been following Gary, I guess, for a similar amount of time. I think a little bit before 2017, but when I was trying to like restart my channel and get things off the ground, I was consuming every book and thing that I could find about it. And that was right around the same time that he was, I think, like really blowing up his own channels and going hard. So I ordered all his books. I found his stuff, and I would say he really helped me out too. But I saw that video, and explain what it was to someone who didn't see it.
Basically,
and who's D-Rock, first of all? I know who he is, but who's D-Rock?
D-Rock is Gary's videographer, like personal videographer. And like quick side note, the way I learned, because I got to know D-Rock and he's like a really great guy.
Yeah.
And I asked him like how did he get this job? Because he kind of pioneered this new style, like personal videographer.
Yeah.
And
he's a notable one.
Yeah, for sure. And what he told me was he was at college and he saw Gary doing a speech at his college and he's like, "Whoa, that guy's awesome." So then he just went up to him and introduced himself and blah blah blah. And Gary said to email him, and then so D-Rock kept emailing him like, "Hey, can I create a free video for you? Hey, can I create a free video for you?" 11 emails later, Gary's like, "Yeah, sure, come here." And so it turned into Gary's first vlog ever, and it was called Through the Clouds and Dirt. And basically, yeah, all D-Rock did was like follow him throughout the day, and then at the end of the day, like he just pieced together this edit, and Gary was, he saw something in that, and then Gary just gave him a job, and then it just went from there.
Yeah.
So really
so
cool
then they
stuff.
put out a video called "Are You the Next D-Rock?"
Yeah, so it was like Gary has this thing called Biz Dev Sunday.
Yeah.
And he I guess he tries to engage with his audience on new ideas and stuff. But in this specific one, he was asking if there's other videographers out there that would be interested in doing a similar job to D-Rock for Vaynermedia for other clients. And so like I came home that night and watched that video, and it was 3 hours old when I watched it. And he was saying like, "Oh, there's going to be a form on the website you can submit and blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh man, this video is, it's new. Like I might have a shot if I really jump on it." And so like I literally I went right to my computer, and I already had this idea of like creating a video like that was like a video resume of like what I've done in video. And I was thinking about creating that for the hell of it to maybe get other jobs. But then I was like, okay, this is a perfect way I can apply this idea. So I stayed up all night, made this video, and then I submitted through the website on the form for the Are You D-Rock position, but I also sent my video with it. And
how long did that video take you? All night?
Yeah, it took me all night. I can't remember I think it was in the middle of the week too, so I must have been super tired that next day at work.
Yeah. So where were you working at the time when you applied?
At the time, I was working for this company called F2B Services, and it's a digital signage company, and it's a really great place.
Similar thing, like content creation.
Yeah, that's what I was doing there. Yeah, it was awesome. But
so you submitted that form. I remember seeing that. I feel like I threw an email in just for the heck of it, even though I was already very busy on my own stuff. But I feel like I just like threw an email in just to like get my just to put my email out there, but just to get on some list maybe. But so what happened after that? How did you get reached out to? Or
literally nothing happened. Like 2 or 3 days went by, nothing happened, and I was like, okay, I'll submit again. So I submitted again, and then nothing happened. And I was like, you know what? Let's email someone. Let's email D-Rock. So I emailed D-Rock.
Good initiative.
Didn't hear anything. So I emailed again after a day or so. Didn't hear anything. And I was like, man, like,
you
what
probably
can I
spent
do?
a lot of time on the video, and you're like, someone has to watch. Someone's gonna watch this.
Yeah, for sure. And like, so instead of just emailing him again, I changed the header of the subject header of the email, and I changed it to "not giving up," period, with a period at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was extra dramatic. No, it wasn't all caps. It was just not giving up, period.
It's like a clickbait title.
Exactly. But
you should put hashtag, or you should put like parentheses emotional and then parentheses not clickbait. I'm gonna start not clickbaiting my email titles.
Oh man. But the clickbait, it's a real thing.
No, but it worked, right? So
that worked. That might have got me the whole job, like just changing that one thread.
That's
so, like,
an amazing point.
Yeah, like
what was the old title that you were using?
It was just it was
Vayner
like
application 101 123.
It was are you D-Rock position?
That's
like
it.
Something like that.
Like really generic, yeah.
Yeah,
Now you just gave up your secret, so you're gonna have to we're gonna have to do the next thing now, like the next level. But so anyways, you emailed that to and by the way, this video is available on your YouTube channel, right? Which I'll leave a link to.
Yes.
So people can still watch this video. Okay, so now you finally sent it with the new title.
So So literally the next day, like, he got back to me and he asked me where I'm based, and I was like all excited. Like, I told my mom, I was like, "Mom, like, D-Rock answered me."
Yeah.
She's like, "No way." But
Does she know who he was, or you've been telling her like what you're doing?
I told her, like, for some reason I just like knew that I was gonna.
You were telling her
I
about
was
this
gonna get this
exciting new
job.
opportunity that you might potentially
Yeah.
be doing.
That's what I told her.
Yeah,
And
that's what people do, right? They talk with their parents.
yeah, I always tell my mom. But anyway, he answered me, and then we just like emailed back and forth a few times, and then like, the executive on Vayner Talent called me the next day, and then she just asked me to come in for an interview, and then I came in
To the New York
And-
office.
Yep.
So it wasn't like a crazy stretch for you. Didn't have to like buy a plane ticket and like fly to LA, and it was a bit
No.
more of like a day trip, right?
Yeah, so I live in New Jersey, and to get to New York, I mean, if there's no traffic, it'd be like less than an hour maybe. But, you know, because New York's like crazy traffic, it takes about 2 hours with the train. So it's not super far, but
Yeah.
yeah, I went
So,
there.
so you went there, and what was that like? And you have another video on your channel too, that's called "What It's Like to Work at Vayner," which I think, if whoever's listening, I think that's a cool video to check out. You kind of show like walking into the office, like going up the elevator, like what the actual office building is set up like, the snack area and all that.
Yeah. That video has been doing well for me, and I've been getting a lot of comments and questions about it.
Yeah,
Which is awesome.
Yeah, you have a very interesting perspective that you can bring from the inside, which a lot of people are interested in. But so I think we're touching on a lot of interesting points here. One was, so continue the story. You walk up there, and I mean, I'm gonna ask you in a little bit later about how you're balancing your job and the YouTube channel and what that's like, or if there's any rules to it. But so continue on. You got the call, you go up there, and then what?
So yeah, so I had another idea, because I knew, like, okay, I got this opportunity to, you know, I got seen and I got the interview, but that's probably not going to be enough. So what I did was I woke up and made a daily vlog. So like, I showed up to Vayner with my camera and like vlogging, and then I went in the interview like vlog status with my camera, and they were excited. They're like, "Oh, you making a video? Like, can we see it? When can we see it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm making a daily vlog of today," because one of the main things they were asking me, and the main thing that Gary prioritizes in general is speed. Like, that's everything to the company. It's like, you know, you got to have the skills, but if you don't have the speed, then you might as well just quit. So they're asking me about speed. So this was my way of showing that I had speed. I said, like, tomorrow morning I'll have the vlog done. So I woke up.
Was that normal for you, or were you like, did you like say it and then you had to back it up? You're like, "Yeah, I'll have it done tomorrow morning, 8 a.m." And then you're like, "Wait, what did I get myself into?"
Kind of. Like, I knew I could get it done, but I knew I was going to be super tired. But I was motivated enough to make it, and I'm happy with how the video turned out. And so the next morning, sure enough, like, I had the video, and I sent it to them, and they're all stoked on it. And I think that kind of helped me even more so to see, like, oh, he has the initiative, and he really does want to work here. He has passion.
It was like a 1-2 punch. It was like,
exactly.
That was the two.
That was my right hook, or
it was another jab.
Jab, yeah.
But so that basically sealed the deal, and then they emailed you. You got started, basic normal job stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah, normal job.
I think a lot of people watch Gary and they see The Office, and they don't get to see like the normal job side of it. What is, like, can you speak on that dynamic that it's a real job with like real employees, and at the same time it's also like a big like YouTube channel and people following?
Yeah, this is the craziest thing, like, because for me, I was a big fan before I got this job. So when I went in there, you know, I was like, oh my God, like when I first saw Gary on my first day, like in his office, I was like, I was like, whoa, that's Gary, like, that's so cool. But that quickly fades away, and you realize that it's literally just a normal job. It's a normal agency. Like
Yeah.
it's a little progressive. They have, the vlog. Like whenever Gary's walking around, like there's people following him and filming, and
Can you
whenever
just like
people,
whip out your camera? And that's the thing. So you're obviously on job to create content for other people, and you have stuff to
Mhm.
do. But at the
Yeah.
same time, they encourage. They're a little bit progressive, but you can't just be vlogging at work and not doing your work.
No, you totally can. Here's the thing, like Gary, he's not a liar. Like he says, like, everyone should vlog, whatever, and anyone can vlog. There was a couple days where I was like, kind of like vlogging at Vayner, but like you said, there's a lot of work to get done.
Yeah.
There's like no time to do this vlogging stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's a ton of work, and it's a job. So, I've been there for months now, and that what it's like to work at Vayner was like the only vlog kind of video I was able to come up with because I was just so tied up with all the work.
So you're totally allowed to create content. Obviously, you're not allowed to like not steal, but like take the work that you're sending to others and like use it. I'm sure there's some sort of line that's common sense, but how is that in your plans right now to balance? Because you're creating content full time for work, and then you also, do you have plans? Like, what are your plans on where you want to take your channels and things like that? Because you have your YouTube channel too, which is now kind of like your side project that you can throw a video on here and there. How are you balancing that?
So it's been tough. The job's been taking a lot out of me because I have a long commute right now, and I don't know if people know, the work hours at Vayner are 9 to 6. So it's got that extra hour, and you're allowed to take an hour lunch, which is okay, but it's still an extension. So, I do a lot of editing on the trains when I'm commuting and stuff like that on my own projects. But it's been tough because when you go, it's been great being able to go to work and get paid to just do video, and you grow so much from doing it constantly.
Yeah, and meeting people, and I'm sure just the things that you've learned in the past 3 months are super valuable, things that would take you forever to have learned on your own.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is, so when you get out, you kind of are a little less motivated to like do more editing for your own. Yeah. But luckily, I'm starting to like understand the balance and stuff. And basically, what I want to do with my channel is, I'm not gonna be the Vaynermedia vlog guy. That's not me, because it's just
too specific.
But also Vayner's not. It's a job, man. Like it's not. If I was with Gary all the time, maybe it would be cool to have a vlog. But I'm doing work and stuff, so it was cool. Like I think it was great that I was able to give that insight into what it's like to work at Vayner and make that video. But from there, there's not too much extra I think I can make. So I'm just focusing more on my own projects, documentaries, and one cool thing about me is that I get to fly free because my sister works for United. So one of the things I'm going to start doing is like traveling all over the place to meet people, make.
Is that like a family benefit, or is it like?
Yep.
That's a really cool benefit.
Right? It's crazy.
You get like one flight a month or something, or one flight a year, or like
no, it's literally unlimited.
Wow, that's really cool.
It's crazy. Yeah. So I'm trying to use that to my advantage.
I need someone to work at United for me. Yeah. So you got other ideas and documentaries and things that you want to work on too.
For sure. I think the direction I want to go with my channel is, I want to be a videographer and an editor that can shed light on other prospective editors that want to learn and see how to maybe get a job in the area and in the field, and can be to give insights and help people out that way, while also producing a lot of awesome fun content.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've seen, basically you're right next to the source. Like when you're right next to all of it, everyone around you is probably content minded and creating all the time. You just pick things up, and you pick up a speed and the pace, and I'm sure just watching Gary from a few distance away, you start to like pick up things on your own. Isn't that kind of weird dynamic where you're seeing him preach all this stuff like vlogging and whatnot, but then at the same time you're working the 9 to 6, and I feel like it's just the longer you stay there, you're just gonna naturally pick it up from him and start doing your own thing. Do you feel like that's a weird like dichotomy there?
I think Gary rubs off on a lot of people.
Like, do people just get super inspired by being too close in the office and then just jump ship like 3 months later often?
I don't know, man. It might be. I mean, for me, I can speak to myself. Like, I was super motivated to go there, and like I was just like, yeah, like work, like blah, blah, hustle, whatever, you know. But after a couple months, I was just kind of like, it just like wore off, and I was just like,
back into the grind. Yeah.
Yep. I wasn't as excited, but I guess that goes for anything that you really want, and then when you get it, it's not exciting anymore.
Things are not. Yeah, things, you quickly get used to anything. So
yeah,
that's why you have to have like very good motivations and whys. But so what tips, like you're saying, I'm sure people can pick up some useful stuff from that story that you just gave. But so for me, I don't really take clients much. I'm much more focused on building a community and audience and doing other things, not specifically client related, and landing a job or editing job related. What tips can you give someone who's looking to maybe just starting up, who would love to do something like you're doing, how to land that position as an editor when they maybe don't have much experience or networks or connections at wherever local place they're at, or maybe Vayner or wherever?
Yeah. So the good thing, and the thing that I love about video the most, is you have deliverables, right? So if you want to do work for someone or get a job, they say, okay, show me something, and here you go, and you know, here's my videos, here's my work. You have something to show. I think it's the best thing. So for people that want to do this work, learn, you know, make videos, make them as good as you can, and then you have that to show people, and that will get you, you know, that's literally what happened to me. That got me jobs. Yeah. So I think that's what people have to do. They have to really just don't, like, kind of tune everything else out and just get really good at the craft. And if you need to, you know, if you need money and you can't get a job with video, you get whatever job you can, and then on your off time, that's just the most practical way to do it.
So that's another thing. Like, a lot of people might not want to work for free technically, but a lot of times doing something for free can land you a pretty good opportunity if you put it in the right places.
Yeah,
just
you have to work for free.
Yeah,
it's just not even a question. Like, there's
nobody's
a couple
gonna pay you for this. It's a touchy subject for a lot of people, but definitely if you're trying to shoot for like a what's that word, a Hail Mary in football, you're gonna have to do it like for free. You're not gonna be throwing a Hail Mary and at the same time waiting till someone pays you to throw it.
I think, at least for me, it's like there's certain jobs I can get and I get paid for first time, you know?
Yeah.
But there's also like things that are higher that I want to aspire for,
that are opportunities.
Opportunity that I'm not quite there yet, maybe not good enough, but I can get that job for free. Maybe I can, learn and get experience for free. So you kind of have to just learn from where you're at and be practical and knowing, like, you know, how good your work actually is, like, unbiasedly.
So what's your next moves? Like, what are you looking to do now in the next 6 months to a year with all the different opportunities you've done in the past couple months and all the things that you've learned and the projects that you're working on?
My goal is to really grow my YouTube and, like, grow community. And, you know, the last couple of weeks I've gained a good amount of followers and it's been good. And I'm just trying to gain that consistency there and grow from there. That's really it. And just continue to get better at video and video editing, and then just see where it takes me. It's pretty simple for me.
That's a good goal. I like that. It's like, I'm similar in that a lot of my goals are very general, but they're general. They're not too specific, but they're similar. Like, see where it takes me, and that's my same idea. Like, I just want to grow it as big as I can, and I know things will come from that. For sure. It goes deeper than that, but
yeah, I mean, you and myself, we all have our dreams and, you know, our huge goals. But for right now, it's more simple. I just want to keep getting better and better, and just ride that wave, and then when I get closer to my goals, then we can maybe figure out how to actually attain it.
Yeah.
More concrete plan.
Yeah, you can never know. You know the general direction you're heading, but sometimes it's impossible to get too specific. But
yeah.
So a little side note as we wrap up here. So how did you find my stuff? And this is just a selfish question, some selfish research. Like, how does my stuff help you? And where does my stuff reach? Does anyone else use my stuff? Or like, how do you guys, I'm sure not all of you, this ties into, a lot of people ask me if they should go to film school or how did I learn all this? How did like you learn all this, and how did a lot of people around you that you see are in these interesting positions learn everything?
I mean, I went to school for video and learned a lot that way, but I've always just learned on my own and learned on YouTube. And so, if I didn't know how to do something, I'd search for it on the internet. That's why channels like yours are just amazing. The way I found you was...
Always plug. Thank you. No, but
yeah,
continue.
For sure. The way I found YouTube, or your channel, was actually through my friend Gustavo, and he asked me,
Does he work there too?
He worked at my old job.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he was like, Chris, the day's come. I want to learn how to edit videos. And I was like, cool. So I started showing him the basics of Premiere, and then he started just like watching tutorials. And he's like, oh, you should watch this guy. His name is Justin Odisho. He makes really great tutorials. And I was like, okay. And that's how I started watching you. And you're my favorite tutorial person to watch. You're just like very concise, and you take your time, and your videos are like on the shorter end, and they're not just like so a lot of these people don't know how to like teach properly. Like you'll have to like pause the video and then like rewind it, and then but yours are easier to follow. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. For sure. I hear that. I know I'm not like the greatest editor, but I do sometimes. People do tell me, like someone just told me the other day, the thing is I can explain stuff, or I can at least I teach it properly. But enough about me though. Who else do you watch on YouTube? Do you watch Jake Paul? Are you a Jake Pauler? I
do not.
No.
I'm aware of him. I'm aware of a lot of YouTubers, but I'm very selective with who I watch on like a regular basis. My favorites, Casey Neistat and Danny Duncan.
Yeah, I watch both of them. Two very different people, but very similar in some ways.
Danny's I just love that guy. He's hilarious.
Does Danny has a personal videographer now too, right?
He does, which
his friend records him.
Another thing I want to talk about, if we can, is YouTube videographers, because that I feel like is going to really become a big thing. I recently started talking to the video editor for John Hill. I don't know if you know that guy.
Yeah. John Hill, the skater, right?
Yeah, he's just like a skate YouTuber guy.
Actually, some guy messaged me on Instagram, and he said that my videos helped him get a position, or he edits like Instagram videos for John Hill. I don't think he edits his whole stuff, but like sometimes on the Instagram stories, when you see like the swipe up for a new vlog, the guy said he learned how to edit from my videos, and he got that opportunity, and he seemed like a younger dude, so
yeah, that's great.
That's kind of interesting.
You should be getting some money out of that, right?
No, I shouldn't be. I mean, I'm getting some type of benefit because the dude watches me. Yeah,
for sure.
I can't claim, like, it's like a butterfly effect. Like, I love that I could teach, so I could put something out there, and then that kid might find it and then learn how to edit on his own skill and his own like determination, and then get a cool opportunity. And then it's like somehow I've influenced the world in some way, where like now I'm indirectly helping out John Hill's Instagram stories. Indirectly.
That's an awesome way to think about it.
You know what I mean? I don't know him, awesome. But like I watch him, and that's cool to know that like I have a little touch in there.
Never thought about it like that.
Yeah. But what were you gonna say,
Justin? No, what is it?
YouTube videographers and John Hill.
Yeah, the YouTube videographers, like, and editors, and just that, that direction. I think a lot of people can get jobs and make a living that way, especially moving forward, where YouTube's just becoming more and more popular, I feel like. And like a person like Dane Duncan, for instance, he doesn't know how to make videos, or he doesn't know how to edit. He hates editing, and so he needs someone.
He's more of a
there.
personality, and a lot of these people are like the two people you were talking about earlier, who started like the Quest Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
People who are interesting and have something to show, but they might not be videographers or editors.
Exactly.
But they are probably going to want to get into YouTube soon. For
sure. That interests me. And that's the thing Gary loves to say, like, vlog, everyone vlog. But, it's not that easy. Like, you can use your phone, but, you might not have any idea how to edit. Yeah, Justin, come on. Whip out the vlog.
I should have vlogged. I haven't vlogged in like a month, but I'm going on a little trip. I'm going to California, so I'm definitely vlogging that.
You should definitely do that.
But I think you're about to finish your point, or?
It's just an interesting
space that's about to open up.
Yeah, it's like, it's really cool.
Yeah, I think so, especially with big celebrities like The Rock, all these big celebrities that have tried to come over to YouTube and like really approached it from like a produced standpoint, like making really polished content, grabbing the biggest influencers and collabing with them. I'm sure there's going to be things like that on a smaller scale, where maybe this like sometime mid-level NBA player or like something like that, who's somewhat relatively famous or and has like somewhat relative of a following, is going to want someone to be their D-Rock or be their personal videographer. That would be a really cool opportunity, even if you did it for free and leveraged it somehow to start making money off of it later, to follow this dude around. He might not be LeBron James, maybe he's like a bench player, but I'm sure he still has I'm sure he still has a very interesting story, and that it'd be a cool opportunity, and there's lots of people like that.
Yeah, who wouldn't love to watch like their favorite athlete or favorite band like behind the scenes? Who wouldn't want to watch a vlog of them? Everyone would.
Yeah, I always wish like Drake vlogged. He doesn't even barely post Instagram stories. I mean, he's like so busy that it'd probably be a waste, but if he hired someone to do it for him, I don't know, there's a plus and a minus to showing everything. I think some people do benefit from somewhat of a mystique, maybe musicians, but that's,
he's so famous. I don't think you can't get more famous than being the most famous, pretty much.
Yeah, it's getting a bit, that's a whole different topic. But maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll have to do a solo podcast on that topic. But I think we could wrap this one up here then. Is there anything else that you want to say, or any other projects that you want to mention before we wrap up here that you didn't get to talk about?
I guess, one thing I would like to add is a lot of people are like DMing me and messaging me and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we never got into that. But I know how it is.
They're just like asking. They're just like,
they're not giving.
Hey Pompey, how do I get a job at Vayner? And
no initiative,
it's like, why? Like, why aren't you like? You gotta like add value to me somehow, and then I can help you out. Like, you don't just, that's why people don't get answered a lot, I feel like. Yeah,
no, I definitely feel I get tons and tons of DMs, mostly just questions, which I always answer. But the times where I'm most capable to help someone is where they put it in front of me ready. Like somebody emailed me a couple days ago and they said, hey, we offer translation from English to Spanish, subtitles. Here's why, here's our rates, here's some of our past work, here's what we can do for you. Did you want to? And that was something I replied to, and I haven't done it yet, but it's interesting. Whereas he didn't just reply. He gave me a solid opportunity, time, place, date, everything. He didn't just reply and say, hey, we should collab sometime, or hey, we should do something,
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like a huge piece of advice. You got to figure out how to add value. Like, if you haven't heard Gary say that, then you're not paying attention, but it's a real thing.
And so where can people find you and DM you if they watch this whole podcast? I'm
Yeah.
sure these will be nice DMs. But where can people find you? Where's the best place for people to reach you and follow you and see what you're up to?
So YouTube is the most important one, then Instagram. But on every social, I'm at Pompey. That's POMPSIE.
Okay, and I'll link up to YouTube and Instagram and all that.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Justin.
Thank you so much for making the time, getting some podcasts done. Thank you guys for watching, or listening, I should say, if you listened all the way. Again, if you're listening on YouTube or anywhere else, the podcast is available on iTunes now. So leave a rating on it. Let me know what you think. And check out the other episodes if you've got some more hours to kill. So thank you, Pompey, for coming on. Thank you guys for listening. And I'll see you in the next one.